Here at the Loud and Drunk podcast, we tackle the big issues during this election season. And Moses, that's why we're talking about comic book movies.
There's a lot going on, and there's been a bunch of shakeup, good or bad. We're going to find out what it is.
I'm also here, hello, drinking some really weird iced teas that might fuck me up too much. But, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. I'm not the biggest fan, and that kind of sounds bad, but I like the movies. They're great popcorn movies, but I'm a little beat up. But we'll talk about it.
Logan here. I'm also knee deep in a. So I've got two drinks actually. I have a whiskey, which is more delightful than the vodka that I have, which I've been mixing with this Red Bull, which is now gone because I'm a little sleepy today. But I am happy to dive into this conversation because I kind of have a low opinion of modern comic book movies. So I feel like I'm just going to be like a heel to this whole thing, and I'm clearly outmatched, but I'm going to do my best to hold my own, I guess.
Yeah, well, speaking of heels, you got the American Kaiju, Big Jeff Noyze, back in the house again. Thank you very much for having me. I got a good game in my hand, a slap on the ass, and an edible to my left. So, and a joint to my left. So we're going to have a really good time tonight.
There's a lot of decadence in here.
Absolutely. And I don't want to say that I'm an expert in the field, but 100% I am an expert in the field.
You are.
So,
yeah, you are.
So let's go, Let's have a good time, talk about some comic books. This is definitely my jam.
Record-breaking time for us to be like full Joe Rogan, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do it, you might as well emulate the best.
Dan, can you pass me that DMT?
Oh, shit.
I thought you had it.
I finished mine. I just thought you had more. I wouldn't have wolfed it down.
No, I finished all of it.
All right. We'll just move past it.
I could taste you guys.
That's taking a number of wrong ways.
First time, not the last time, brother.
Bunch of prudes.
So, Jeff,
Yes.
you are the expert.
Okay.
In the state of comic book movies, what do you make of what's going on with the genre?
So post Endgame, it's been a lot of hit or miss. There's been some tremendous movies like the Deadpool Wolverine was great. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And then there were some pretty much bombs with like the Eternals, and which I actually think is not a bad movie, but we'll get into that later. And like the Marvels didn't really have like a very good reaction from everybody. But I think a lot of people are kind of just getting exhausted because there's too much content going out right now. And a lot of it seems like it was rushed. So that could also lead to why it was so unsuccessful at like the box office and everything like that. And, really the movie exhaustion really is a thing. You know, when you pump out too much content, it's like you just came down from like the one movie and you're coming off of Endgame, which was a culmination of 10 years of epic shit. I mean, the stinkers of the bunch from that are like the Endgame compared to the stinkers of like the movies that they just put out. So, but it really does go much farther than just the movies. Like even with like, a lot of you guys know I have a collectible business, Noyze Toys, but you see the conventions, lower attendance, less bags in hands,
Interesting.
Big time with that. The comic book market too, let me tell you, 2021, 2022 was a renaissance for comic books. Or money laundering, I don't know. There were some weird sales on eBay. All right. But like a lot of these books were selling for insane numbers. And then you look at them now and there's this app called GPA, they give you an analysis of the sales of a certain comic book.
Oh, okay.
If it's graded, so you could be like, I got a giant size X-Men #1 and a 5.0 and it's going for blah, blah, blah. But you could see all the data of those sales on like all different auction sites. So the prices from like 2021, 2022 were like quadruple what they are now. Yeah. So I don't know if that's just the economy or if it's just people kind of just getting out of it or not believing in what they were investing in, or they're just bored with comic book shit, which is very much a thing that people would be too.
There's a part of that I observed with what are those fucking things called where it's like tokens that you can buy?
Pogs?
It's like maybe.
Is it 1990 again?
Yeah, like you can buy like a virtual version of like a piece of
NFTs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
that blew up right in the middle of basically the inflationary episode that we went through in this country.
No one talks about NFTs
Right,
anymore.
No.
and I feel like that was a part of that. And I mean, certainly some of it was money laundering.
Yeah.
But people were investing money into that type of thing. I definitely agree with the idea of just general fatigue.
Yeah.
And there was also noticeably to myself, since I don't really like I'm into like these films to a degree. I'm into the genre to a degree. I read comic
Roadhouse.
books when I was a kid to a degree. But I feel like that there was like a moment in time where it was very chic to be into nerd shit.
Yeah.
And now that to me is observably fading. Just to tie in with what you're saying.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. Like, I get it. But even at that, the nerd thing is changing even more to where when you go to these conventions, the bigger thing now than the comic book stuff, which was on like God tier, is now anime.
Right.
Yeah.
So anime is through the freaking roof right now. Like, I mean, there's like My Hero Academia and like, you know, obviously
One
the
Piece.
Dragon Ball One Piece is gigantic.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff, people come to my booth all the time. I don't have like a ton of anime stuff. You know, I have some, don't get me wrong, just
Right.
because I like to have a little something for everybody.
Yeah.
But like these people are ratting off some shit that I ain't never even heard of, you know? And I thought I had like a good grasp on everything. But man, like these guys are nuts. They're nuts.
And Logan, to counter your point too, video game movies have kind of blown up recently.
Yeah.
They've kind of taken the place of the comic book movie like craze. Like
Yeah.
Sonic did very well, Mario's done very well.
Mario was
agree with
awesome.
I've observed as well, once again, being like the outsider looking in, and I feel like that sometimes makes it easier to observe it.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like when you're really into something, you also have blinders on to a degree because you just know so much about it.
Yeah.
You also have preferences and such. Whereas myself, I don't really understand any of it, so it's all lost on me. But you're able to observe trends more objectively then, and I will say that absolutely gaming as a culture, that's blown up by itself.
Definitely.
Where now it's like all encompassing. It used to be like, if you go back to like, you know, when I was a child, at least, that was like, it was almost like gender based. You know, it was like only young men like to play video games and were into it. And now it's across the genders and what have you. So I think that just, even that in and of itself is indicative of that shift. So I would agree there.
What happened with that is that, you know, the YouTuber or what's the app?
Twitch.
It was Twitch?
Twitch.
It was Twitch.
Well, streaming. Yeah.
But
Streaming, like
but
PewDiePie.
all the all the, you know, somewhat sexy girls are like, oh, how can I make a buck?
Well,
and
there's a whole
who has
market
the most
there.
money? It's the fucking guys playing video games at home because they ain't doing it like they're not
spending
going
it on
out to
girls.
spend. Yeah.
I've seen some of these videos and I can't help but agree.
And you know, so that makes it more popular and
Alone
get shoved
with the,
in.
with the Diddy oil.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. You know, we all got to eat.
To qualify in one way, because it's not just this, but I mean, we will come back to refocus, but like it was essentially like what was kind of called nerd culture had a whole renaissance.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
dude.
So
It still does.
Oh yeah. Well,
100%.
We're on the tail end of it, but
No,
yeah.
I don't even.
I don't
we're
think
tail
we're on a
end.
tail end. We're just on like a downturn.
Yes.
I think it's
But
just a
it's gonna kick
redefinition
back up.
of
So-
the term nerd. Like,
Okay.
and that's
Well,
why
yeah.
it's like kind of shifting but staying.
comic books all of a sudden became cool. You had all these movies.
We
come
were
out.
nerds before geeks were dorks. All right,
D&D, which had been dead for like 25 years in all like
Yeah.
reality, is now a huge
Stranger
thing
things
again.
happen, and now it's like, oh, I want
Yeah.
to be in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Across all boards, like nerd culture came up, and it's like, look at us now, and
Yeah.
I'm doing like my hands on my hip type.
And
pose
that, yeah,
situation,
I'd
it's
not
The
to go
meek
too
shall
far off
inherit
on that
the earth.
tangent, but yeah, it was so much easier when I was like, you know, like a fucking child and a girl who was into Lovecraftian novels. You knew exactly what you were getting, and it
Yeah.
was something great. and now you don't know. That could just be any bitch these days.
to come to what our friend Jeff here said earlier is like these movies started coming out, and you had I guess what was the first 3 or 4 phases
Yeah.
of Marvel.
Yeah.
This whole essential, more or less contiguous storyline built over 10 years.
Yeah.
And then you get like this 2-part over a couple of years finale to
Yeah.
it.
A giant crescendo.
Yes.
And
And then that happens.
where do you go from there?
Where do you go from there?
Well, the other thing too is they started off only doing 2 movies a year.
correct.
Do you think?
Now, I mean, except like this year was only like 2 movies again, but in the past they were doing like 5.
Yeah.
Plus 3 or so shows on Disney Plus. So it was just too much content to really absorb.
Oversaturation of the market.
They were very much oversaturating the market. And what happened too is when Bob Iger took back over as CEO of Disney, he admitted on multiple calls
They
that,
fucked up.
We put quantity over quality.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when you do that, then you're, of course, and then when we were talking about this off mic as well, instead of giving your main IPs, your X-Men, Spider-Man, Hulk, like Captain America.
Well, they didn't have the license to a lot of those guys too.
Yeah,
That's
but they
what
were
I was
still
gonna
putting out movies
But-
with it.
But then they were thinking, they kind of bought their own hubris. Like Iron Man was sort of like, maybe like in the earlier days was like an A tier.
No.
I mean like the earlier days. I'm not talking about like the 90s when we were kids, because when we were kids, Iron Man was like
Even
a
at
B
that,
level.
Iron Man wasn't like the main.
He was
It was always Spider-Man, X-Men, and then like Fantastic Four was actually a lot bigger than what people expect Fantastic Four to be. Now there's going to be a big turnaround because you're going to get new fans to watch Fantastic Four, which is going to be awesome. I'm incredibly excited. Name my son Reed, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I love Fantastic Four. Always have,
you
always
know
will.
so much more about this than me, but I've always disliked Fantastic Four.
Oh my
and
God,
I
I
read
hate
that
you.
as a child.
Logan,
I hate
you
you
suck.
back. I always want Galactus should win.
I know.
I know.
I mean, we all know
All right,
that.
you know what? I take
Thanos
back my
should win
hatred.
too.
That's true. Yes. Yes.
I rewatched that second iteration of it, or I guess third technically.
Who was in it?
Yeah. You
I
gotta
don't know any
specify.
of their names.
Was it Michael B. Jordan?
Yes.
Okay.
The Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
or whatever. Like,
Where they like
horrible logo.
they showed their powers for like 5 minutes, other than
Dude.
the thing just being there.
That
And
movie
it's
was
just like
2 hours of buildup for
And
3
nothing.
minutes of action.
absolutely nothing. Like that Michael Chiklis one is years better. The Roger Corman
Yeah.
nonsense that those actors didn't even know they were in a movie or something.
Yeah. Well, the Michael Chiklis one had a lot of good quality to it. The
Yeah.
first one was good.
It was fine.
The second one,
Nah.
I mean, you're going to do Galactus as a fucking smoke
Oh,
cloud.
all right, I was gonna
Like,
ask
that
a
was
cloud.
horrendous.
And is that the same one where there was like a dance scene?
Oh,
That
don't
was
even
the
get me
first
started.
one.
No, that was the second one.
In the
Can we
se-
talk
That was the
about
Rise of Silver
that
Surfer.
dance scene was great. Yeah,
It was
that's
horrible.
right,
It was the
yeah.
fucking. It was
so
embarrassing.
Maybe
Why
the
do you-
dick joke
Why
was
do
in the
you
first one?
hate the Fantastic Four?
I love the Fantastic Four.
Then why
That's
do you hate
why
the
I
dance scene?
hated that.
Why do
scene.
you hate them being happy?
Because Sue wasn't happy.
That's fair.
He walked in on Reed dancing with a couple other chicks.
Yeah.
So Sue wasn't happy about
You're
that.
gonna tell me you wouldn't do the same thing if you had those powers?
Have you seen Jessica Alba?
I mean, not recently. But
Have you seen Jessica Alba 2005?
I would love to do that right now.
Yeah, there you go.
This is poster
Doesn't
pre
matter, bro.
Sharknado.
Doesn't matter.
He's right that it doesn't matter.
Yes,
yeah. Don't be up on your own fucking pedestal.
come on,
sir.
bro. You gotta calm
You're
down.
not better than that.
Well, like, you know, you had Michael Chiklis in a just rock suit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was so much better than the extra crispy fried chicken.
Whatever that was,
in
yeah.
like the other one. That's all it looked like was a piece
It
of freaking fried
reminded
chicken.
me of the that portion of Fantastic Four when his the Thing's body becomes all craggy.
Well, they were trying to do the
Oh,
Ultimates.
is that what that was?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sort of. Like they were trying to do more of an Ultimates version of the Fantastic Four, but it was a giant fucking flop because none of them have read a goddamn comic before. Which, don't get me wrong, most people that watch the movies now and most of the writers and directors haven't watched comics or haven't read comic books either. You know, so that's a giant problem, but you know, they still get away with it because they do have a lot of very solid writers. Feige's a genius. Like we could all agree that at least Kevin Feige is an absolute genius.
Yeah.
But
Because
they
even
put-
when he fails, he's still coming out on top.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But they did put a lot of good people in charge of the next wave, which is very exciting because again, Iger coming back, they're trying to focus more on the less is more, which I'm totally cool with. Because they were talking about like a Blade movie, then like 8 billion other
They were
movies.
introducing
Which
so
Blade
many-
should have a movie. I love
They've
Blade.
been talking about a Blade movie for
I know.
like before Infinity War.
2019. We were talking about around 2018, 2019, and here we are 6 years later or whatever.
You're absolutely right. Like even with the the end of Eternals, like you got Black Knight, the whole like post credit scene,
and that was supposed to be Blade's voice.
Yeah. Because you got what's his name,
Mashallah Ali.
Yeah.
Which he was awesome, but he's a great actor. Keep him for Blade any way that you possibly can. I think he'll do a tremendous job. I'm actually bummed because they screwed up so bad with the Netflix Luke Cage show because he was Cottonmouth.
Yes, he was.
And Cottonmouth should have lived.
Yeah.
That's where they fucked up. Because you were trying to tell me that Diamondback and Black Mariah were going to run that franchise as the villains and Bushmaster, as opposed to Cottonmouth, who was also a top tier, like Emmy Award winning actor.
Yeah.
Like they completely dropped the ball there. And that sucks because Luke Cage was a tremendous series.
I really enjoyed Luke Cage.
I did
as a series.
enjoy that. Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I did like the second season, but not nearly as much as the first
season
half
1
of the first season.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything that they had with Cottonmouth, he caught your attention.
Yeah.
You know, he just caught everybody's attention. He was tremendous. And they fucked up with killing off a good villain. Yeah. And they did that with a lot of people on a Netflix show or a series in general.
Yeah.
Like you killed Jigsaw in Punisher in such a bitch way. Like, not a bitch way, but like you just shot him in the face. Well, it's like you should have given us a lot more Jigsaw.
I'm not familiar with this exact series that you're talking about. However, what I will chime in with is that Netflix has a unique ability to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yes, they absolutely
do it consistently.
They only cancel the shows that are good.
Pretty much. I think the Marvel cancellations were more of the licensing.
It was
mostly because of that and the Disney Plus. And the Disney Plus merger and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, a lot happened with that. And obviously, like we had, especially with the shows, a lot of them went to Netflix first. You had that deal. Some better than others. Obviously, I think...
I thought Jessica Jones was phenomenal.
That was fucking phenomenal.
Most said the same thing.
Yeah,
I watched one episode, so I mean, I'm nobody to judge, but I didn't like it.
That was a character
you really
I
had to
gave
watch
no
more.
fucks about.
You really do.
I will say...
I didn't know shit about Jessica Jones,
Yeah,
honestly.
she was like... she's married to Luke Cage. That's kind of
that's all I really knew. That's all I really knew.
But like... Fucking Mr. Purple Man,
dude. But David Tennant as Purple Man was so good.
All of this sort of ties in too with the point that I was going to make is you could turn like they bought into their own hubris that they could turn these B, C tier superheroes into the S tier, and they were they did that with the Avengers. Like
they
Thor,
did that with fucking Guardians of the Galaxy.
They did that with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Literally nobody read Guardians of the Galaxy comic,
and the writers
and it was the best trilogy that Marvel put out.
Yeah, because that's one of the few movies recently that's come out that's made a shit ton of money for Disney and Marvel.
Guardians 3 was phenomenal.
But also what I was also going to make too is the reason they would get so, full of themselves, they were practically doing that on Netflix, and later on it carried over to Disney Plus. At least the series did for a brief period of time.
At least Daredevil
first season was amazing.
It was tremendous, and the second season I thought
was great.
That was one of the best series of any show that I ever watched.
Is the second season the one that focused a little bit more on Punisher?
Yes,
that's the one when he was introduced.
I love Punisher. Yeah, I
like the Punisher episodes. When they went over to the Hand, I was like, all right, now we're getting a little ridiculous.
They were like, we made Defenders, so I guess we have to do it.
They did way too much with the Hand.
They were trying to merge all of that with the Defenders, because they were putting all of those series together.
That's what the villain of the Defenders was.
Yeah. And that was a flop. Defenders was not good.
Yeah. And because it eliminated like all of those series. It killed off Daredevil to the point where now they had to they've been on and off trying to restart that series.
They tried to set up the Born Again situation.
Yeah. They never killed them off.
No.
It's just
up to interpretation type of thing.
Yeah.
My sentiment I'll give like a broad perspective. Once again, as the outsider looking in, that's how I'll depict myself right here, and I think it's fair, is that we're talking about how they oversaturated the market.
Yeah.
I think that whenever you overdo something, like in economics, it's the fall in the rate of return, and so on and so forth. So for myself, first of all, I would agree with that as like a blanket statement. I loved that at the very least. I enjoyed the first season of Daredevil, if I'm remembering it right. That was enjoyable. The second season was great. I was so into it as a layman, right? Yeah. And I have actually read the comics back in the day, so I'm not quite as out of touch as I think many people who do enjoy it today. I do have like a little bit of that background, but I was also simultaneously relating it back to that Daredevil movie that I watched with Ben Affleck. So once I get past that you've taken something that someone once ruined for me, like this thing that like I really treasured in my heart, and then somebody like stabbed it and stepped on it and just like made it into some piece of shit. And then like you took that damaged part of my soul as a young man, and then you made it into something that was even remotely decent. And I actually think that it was good. But now there's nowhere for you to go because I've already been partially restored. You need to do better after that. Well, and there's the leap between the Ben Affleck Daredevil and the series is so enormous that now my bar is up here and you will never ever hit that
it's
again.
It's like Michael Jordan playing baseball as opposed to Michael Jordan playing basketball.
Exactly. You will, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing.
I love that this is such an anchor point for you.
It really is. It really is.
Well, you know what? You're totally right though, because what they have done with Fantastic Four has murdered my soul.
There you go. Yeah.
It was so horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of offended.
Yeah. But now it'll be so easy to make you happy again.
Literally,
because
the movie
you're
just
at the
has
bottom
to
right now.
exist.
Yeah.
And I'm
sadder.
Stoked,
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, that cast is awesome. I really like the cast.
It does have a very stacked cast.
Yeah.
But they were all
I think
unknown.
well-
Like at the time of that, like
What?
coming out. For
Oh, no, I'm
Daredevil.
talking about the new
The new
cast.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the new cast.
the Charlie Cox and
No, I'm talking about Fantastic Four.
Four.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, the new cast. Yeah,
Yeah. The new
Where am I?
cast for Fantastic Four. Like,
Where's
you
that
don't know
Pedro?
if you don't know Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
You can't turn on a channel.
you might
without
know him
seeing
as Oscar
everywhere
Isaac.
now.
Yeah.
Like that guy is everywhere.
I wish it was all just Narcos, though, for being honest.
Right?
It really is.
It's just
good,
Reed
yeah.
Richards
But-
isn't creating like on the
That'd be
spaceship.
great.
Isn't-
It's just
isn't
more
he?
cocaine.
Yeah.
Isn't Reed Richards a fucking? Isn't he? Though? He's a cartel.
I know. Absolutely.
there's a
It's
lot-
Space Cartel.
Yeah.
So
He's got
slightly different.
He's got the entire negative zone
Yeah.
to mine
Oh my
personally.
Galactus is
I
like,
just-
you know,
I
the
just
big bad
real-
of the
real
coke
quick.
industry.
Space Cartel is a band name.
You know what? It's
yeah.
really funny because I was about to point that out.
That's totally a band name.
Let's make it happen.
Well, with this new iteration, after like, I'll give the first movie, the first Fantastic Four, like Sony, I'll give it grace.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
The second one really upset me because I really had a love affair with Silver Surfer,
Yeah, I know. Me too.
and
Me
like
too.
that really.
But
bummed me.
he was great. In it.
He
was a
And
great
Lawrence
Silver
Fishburne
Surfer.
was tremendous as
Absolutely.
the voice.
Yes.
The look was awesome.
Yes.
Doctor Doom fucking crushed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
But
This is something that I love.
And
One-
also, it's a movie that was an hour and a half long.
Right.
No.
And it,
tried to do too much in its time, and yeah, a lot of
10
issues
pounds
there.
of monkey shit in a 5-pound bag.
Exactly right.
I find it to be
And a smoke
very
cloud.
interesting, and I say this very genuinely, that when discussing, and it's unique to this genre of like comic book movies, that I can say something that shits on a film, like the second Fantastic Four film.
Yeah.
And you can do that like with other genres where I'm like, oh, this movie sucked. And people are like, yeah, absolutely, it sucked. When you do it with a comic book movie,
We're
it's
gonna
that
find
everyone will
something. Yeah.
agree with you and they're like, yeah, that movie sucked. But here's all the things that made it great.
Yeah.
And if we just
Yeah.
changed these fundamental
Mental.
parts of the movie, then you would actually love it. So maybe we actually do respect it and it's a good movie, do you think?
So this is IP that like certain parts of our heart are attached to.
Yes.
So like certain little things.
I want to bring up too, since you mentioned Doctor Doom, Jeff.
Yes.
What do you think of Disney Marvel bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom in, I guess it's the next Avengers movie?
So excited to talk about this.
I did not know this was happening and I'm very
yes.
upset. I can't
I'm-
wait to hear what you have to say.
I am very excited for it because there are so many comic arcs that have Doctor Doom and Tony Stark interweaved. So I want to see
That's fair.
where they're going to go with that. Obviously, the casting, you can't go wrong putting Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, they
in
know what they're
anything.
doing.
Exactly. I mean, look how great Tropic Thunder was. But like, you know,
That is a great fucking movie.
it's tremendous.
Yeah.
What
He
do
can
you
do
mean, Dr.
anything, and that's proof. All right.
I'm a dude.
But no,
playing
like
a dude
he
dressed like another dude.
he can 100% bring back the franchise to where it once was. So Secret Wars is heavily with Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
All right. Now, are they going
In
to
the
do
comic,
a God
but-
Emperor Doom, or what form of Doom? That's the big question going on, but that's an exciting question going on, you know?
What do you make of the concept or the idea that this is just Disney and they're desperate? They really want to make back, like, you know, get back into the good graces of the fan base. And they're just like, let's bring back Robert Downey Jr. and really play off of the nostalgia of him being a really good Tony Stark and Iron Man.
It's a long-winded way of saying they want
Oh, they
to
are
make
totally
money. Will they
doing
do
that
it right?
too.
Yeah.
I see what you guys are saying, but you also have to, this is a tall order.
Yeah.
You need these people to be smart about watching the film and separate themselves of Iron Man and Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of it, you're going to see it was a multiversal thing, and there's going to be a different Doctor Doom.
That's where I
That's
think
what
they're
I
going
think
with
they're
it.
going to
Yeah.
do. But also, like, you know what Doctor Doom is, and you know who Robert Downey Jr. portrays in
Yeah.
anything he's in.
Yeah.
He's
actually
kind of
he's
like
a
a
very
one-tone
complex-
thing.
I think he's very
I think he's kind of
complex.
one-tone.
You're saying one time. I think he's very complex.
Like,
I
he's-
think so. I personally, I always loved when I was back into comics. So once again, I'll reiterate, not as well versed, but Doctor Doom was always my personal favorite character because I
Yeah.
myself am a sociopath, and I feel
because
like
he's deep.
And he's regal.
He's deep, and he I feel like
You can't hate
his-
him as
his
much as you're
character-
supposed to.
his character was solid. He cared about what he cared about. And that was more or less the end of it. I'm going to do the thing that I think
Is right for
most
my people.
beneficial for, not even for my people, because that was obviously the element of it. That's how it was justified. But in reality, it was that you're talking about somebody who was a dictator, but a just dictator,
Yeah.
a righteous dictator, somebody who actually had some level of integrity.
Thanos.
And along these lines, yeah. And so Robert Downey Jr., I don't really like see that fully.
Yeah, I don't
I'm not
see
saying
him
that I
playing
don't
that.
see it there, but it's not what I think of like a Doctor Doom is almost like a Hannibal Lecter to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
You
don't
know?
want a quirky Doom. I want like
I don't think we're going to
weird-
get any
Yeah.
quirky.
I don't
I know
know if
that's
he
what you
can't.
assume with.
And yet we referenced
Downey
Tropic
Jr.?
Thunder before. We literally made that reference. Yeah.
I fucking said it. Like, no, I truly think that he's going to be a very deep, complex character. And
He's capable of acting.
I think
agree.
it's just going to be a
he's
deep fake.
very capable
They're
of
just
doing
going
the
to
job.
switch it.
But I think what they're going to do is, okay, we've all seen Iron Man 1, correct?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably
Spoiler
about
alert.
100 times.
Spoiler alert.
Who's Iron Man?
This dude, Tone. Imagine Tone Loke as Iron Man. So
I'm trying to
I
smoke
think
cigarettes here.
they're going to redo Iron Man 1, the part where he's in the cave.
Right.
Oh, that's
yeah.
But
Okay.
him coming out as Doom
Yeah.
as opposed to the Ironmonger. Because the mask is very similar
Yeah.
to Doctor Doom. But I can see him being super
I can
jacked up.
picture that.
Yeah.
That's
But they
all right.
also
You made it make
take
sense
in-
for me.
Yeah, but they also take in Victor Von Doom,
Right.
not Tony Stark.
But-
he just happens to look like Tony Stark
Right,
because
yeah.
you can get away with that in the multiverse. Henceforth, we had the cavalry.
the cavalry.
You know,
But
But part of Doom is his sorcery
Yeah,
and
yeah.
magic. So like, how is that going to be
he
explained
could have
in
had
that
his
instance?
powers already.
Yeah.
You know, being from Latveria, but he was a Latverian scientist as opposed to an American scientist trying to sell.
so like what he's saying
these
it also deals
weapons.
in with the multiversalness. So
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
You
yeah.
got to think it's a completely different universe.
That I get,
because
but
it's gonna
just,
be.
Yeah.
There's
I-
no way this is 616.
I also, whenever I
if
was
it's
like,
616.
whenever
not 616.
whenever I was reading like Doom comics and such like that, I always felt like the scientific aspect
Yes.
of him was the prevalent part to the degree
Totally.
that the magic capacity.
Well, that's
the
what makes him
ethereal-
so
yeah.
dangerous because he has both. Like he's
Yeah,
got that analytical mind,
but it's his
and
mind
that
that makes him
sorcery.
dangerous.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
just
I think that's why I find that character to be fascinating.
But that's why he's such a good antagonist to Reed Richards.
Yes.
Because
Right.
Reed is the smartest person in the multiverse.
I thought it was Moon Girl.
So Reed is the smartest man in the multiverse. and then you also have a guy like Victor Von Doom. So it's cool to see those two dudes going head to head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so fascinated to see Robert Downey Jr. and Pedro Pascal going head to head. That's going to be dope as fuck.
If it was like remove the veils of their characters, that's Pascal winning it the whole time.
Oh yeah.
One of them smoked crack a lot.
Woke up in an underage girl's bed.
But yeah, I mean,
Nothing sexual.
No.
No, heard.
Yeah.
Heard.
Not this time. But yeah, I do have to get back to like the whole, like you had the giant build up, 10 years building, and then you have your giant crescendo, and then we have we kind of have like these orphan movies that kind of happen. Like you have like your Shang-Chi.
Which was an awesome movie.
I enjoyed Shang-Chi a lot.
But basically what they've done let's see, that was 2019 was Endgame.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So for the past 5 years, they've been on phase 1.
Yeah.
You haven't done anything to get to fucking Secret Wars.
No.
And that's supposed to be a gigantic payoff.
Well,
How is it gonna be?
They had to pivot from the Jonathan Majors thing.
I know.
For
the
kind of no reason.
Which you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Just get a new actor. Multiverse.
That's
You've
why
done it so many times.
Like, that's the whole premise of
why
it.
they do that. They do that because it's a part of the broader thing. My opinion, the way that they're going about that is because when you're milking something and you're just going to do the quantity over the quality, as was already discussed, the bottom line is that you also need to stretch out the story. Because there were several of these when I had like more time to watch this and went out this series on Netflix and so on and so forth. I watched some of these and I enjoyed them. You know, Daredevil series, so on and so forth. It's that
there was a third season. I think you guys kind of ignored the fact that there was a third season of Daredevil.
That's true. Yeah, your shushing is right.
And it was really good, actually, because you get in Bullseye, and he's supposed to be in the... Dude,
if it's not Colin Farrell,
we did get him.
I got
like,
nothing for
Colin Farrell.
He was a great Bullseye, but
that
then
movie
it ended.
was drizzling shits.
So
but,
if he doesn't come back in this Born Again,
he's coming back. He's coming back in Born Again. It's confirmed. And the way that they actually did his character was actually awesome. I actually really enjoyed season 3 of Daredevil. I thought it was great because like Fisk finally got taken down by Daredevil, but he didn't kill him.
Remind me, so season 3 was after Defenders?
It was after it was the last thing they put out.
Is that when they kind of like touched into like the Born Again stuff a little bit? Okay, yeah.
They definitely,
That's
saw
when he,
where they were going with it because
Yeah.
we did think he was going to die at Defenders.
Yes.
That building crushed down.
everything came down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it
That was,
starts. Is
that was,
right after Defenders.
Yep.
D'Onofrio who played.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Still to this. Still to this.
Really
yeah.
quick, I
And
just
he
want
is
to chime
so
in.
good.
He is great
How
at it.
fucking amazing is he as an actor?
Fucking
First of all, he played that character perfectly.
Yeah.
Also, just in general, a great actor.
Tell
That's
me in a
basically
movie
all I have
that
to
he
say.
wasn't the star.
Yeah.
All right. He
He was the star of Men in Black.
Dude, I was just going to say that, bro. Sugar water ball.
yeah. Somehow. Yeah. Then again, you're alongside Will Smith. So it's
It's kind of,
Well, still, you're talking about
Tommy
like,
Lee Jones, too, but-
Full Metal Jacket. Everyone remembers.
Oh,
that.
right, yeah.
Of course.
You know, everyone remembers that.
Yeah, he was good at
He
that.
was Thor in Adventures in
3.
Babysitting.
That's right. Yes.
Boom.
Wow.
Come on.
So
Wow.
That's a deep cut.
D'Onofrio
That's a
in that
deep cut,
role back in the day, and even still to this day, a lot of people are like, oh, RDJ, like perfect
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
Yes. Oh,
With Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin,
Perfect fit.
perfect.
God, dude.
It's like Patrick Stewart being Professor X. Like,
yes.
he looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't have drew it better.
Yeah.
Like, you
And
couldn't
delivered.
have pictured a better person to play
Oh,
that
yeah,
role
and also
after
delivered,
seeing that.
like-
Yeah. Dude, when he decapitated that dude's like with a car door.
Yeah, the car door.
I was like, fucking done. This is it. This is Kingpin.
Well, yes, that was season 1, and that was like such a pin. Like he was doing such.
It was like third or fourth episode,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Holy shit!" They went all in on this, bro. And he loved playing that role. I actually met him in December.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I
Holy
did
shit.
GalaxyCon in Ohio, and I literally decided to do this show because Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox were there, and I was like, I gotta fucking meet these guys.
Oh, that Charlie
I might
Cox-
as well set up there.
That
Yeah.
Charlie Cox story is fucking
Yeah.
great,
So I
too.
got a really good Charlie Cox story. I'll tell it real quick.
Oh,
So
please.
I had him sign my Daredevil #1.
Yeah.
This is very frowned upon in the comic book industry. But
Yeah,
fuck you.
yeah.
This is my collection.
For you.
All right. It's my
you.
collection. I'm not reselling these books. They're my personal ones.
Right.
Okay. And if you have an opinion about this book, show me yours. Okay, you don't fucking have one.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a
And
Daredevil
here
1.
comes the hate mail.
Exactly. I got a Daredevil 1 signed by Stan Lee already.
Oh, cool.
All right?
Oh, shit.
But it's a low grade. It's a 1.5.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I took it and I got Charlie Cox to sign it. He looks at it. He goes, is this the real deal? I'm like, oh, yeah, baby. I'm like, that's the real deal right there. He's looking at it. It took him like 3 minutes to sign his name. And then he's looking through the book and everything, too. And then he signs it. It took forever. And then he goes, oh my God, that's the most nerve-wracking thing ever. And he was like, he picks it back up, goes, all right, guys, have a good one. Goes to the back with my book.
Oh, man.
And then, like, I'm standing there like, the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
You know, he comes back out, everyone's laughing and stuff. And then I go, look, man, you might be able to go over there to D'Onofrio and fuck him up, but I'm the American Kaiju, all right? I know how to fight. So, like, I shoot like a promo
Absolutely.
on him. And he was dying laughing. Like, it was
That's
such
amazing.
a good experience. Charlie was a great, great dude. And Vincent D'Onofrio, super nice. And way taller than me too, which is like crazy. I'm
Really?
6'3",
I was gonna
and
say,
he was
yeah.
like fucking like 3-4 inches taller than me. That motherfucker's huge.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
Makes sense if he's going to be Kingpin.
I was
man.
gonna
Oh,
say, that
exactly.
adds up perfect.
I looked at him in person. I was like, "You are fucking Kingpin."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Like-
the guy that, like, without seeing him in person, that I'm like, oh, that's a big guy.
Yeah,
But,
no,
like,
he is sneaky huge.
Wow.
Not even just a big guy. He's fucking huge. Big ass shoulders, like, you know.
well,
just-
I guess if
he's-
I think about it on the back end, I guess that's what
Yeah.
leads to that,
Yeah.
that imposition
you
of
get the-
force
Oh,
that
yeah.
he always has.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
that's
Even in
amazing.
Jurassic World,
Yeah.
like he had like a good role.
He
in
did,
that,
yeah.
you know.
That's
Don't
a,
laugh
that's
over
a
there,
deep
Moses.
pull. Deep pull.
He's one of my favorite actors. I'll
Yeah,
say that.
yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm a
definitely.
huge fan of his work. So, and he's one of those people that when he is on the screen, you're paying attention.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter what.
Always.
And that's what we're going to get with Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. You're going to get a tremendous actor that every time he is on the screen, he commands your attention.
That's fair.
Now, that's
I
gonna
think
be
that's why
like a
they're doing
Russo brothers.
Yes,
endeavor,
they
too.
brought back
Yes.
the Russo
It does have
brothers.
that.
I
which
think
is
they
awesome.
make a good team.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Well, they did Endgame and
Yeah.
they did Infinity War,
Yeah.
which are literally two of the most
Didn't-
perfect, beautiful movies that
Mhm.
were like.
Didn't
put
they
out.
do Civil War too?
Yeah.
Yes, they
They,
did.
they
Yeah.
did it. They
Yeah.
did a ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they did a lot of them, but that's also why Captain America is like the.
Those are the like Winter Soldier.
I mean,
that is the greatest Marvel movie made.
That's what everyone says.
Captain America 2. That
It's
is
great. It had the best action, hands down.
It's a
And the
great,
story was phenomenal.
like, yeah. If you even take the superhero out of it,
Yeah.
it's a great
still a
fucking
great
action
fucking
movie. Like,
movie.
it's just
Yeah,
fucking.
You could have
great.
just put Stallone in there.
Yeah, you
Like
could really put
Schwarzenegger.
anybody
I was like,
in it.
oh, this is a dope ass movie.
I didn't hear no Nazis.
They're called Hydra.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on, man. We had Zola and everything. Yeah, no, I mean, really, Captain America is the best trilogy, but it's hard to say that because Civil
is.
War is 100% just an Avengers.
It is
Yeah,
an Avengers movie. That's
You know,
true.
so I mean, that's why I said Guardians of the Galaxy was the best because they didn't have to introduce a billion other people. Don't get
also-
me wrong,
they
they put
did.
Thor in
But-
there,
They
For the
did.
third-
Oh, yeah.
but,
But-
no, they didn't bring in like
No,
the top tier
no.
people.
And Christian Bale is Gore.
Was
Like,
awesome,
but they killed him. Like,
But they
I
fucked
feel like
up.
he-
But this was a stinker.
wasn't in
Thor
it enough.
4 was terrible.
All right. If
Terrible.
I can just do my last tag on like Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it was able to exist more or less in its own little envelope,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
and I think that's what really served it very well.
Yeah.
And still fit into that of the Infinity War thing.
Yeah, dude, he
Like, it's
Star-Lord
there and then
was-
it's out.
had a
And
gigantic role in that.
Well,
and
most
obviously
of them-
without Gamora, he couldn't
Right.
get the Soul Stone.
most of them are what made the Infinity War happen.
And
you know?
Mantis is actually
Underrated.
Well,
criminally
yeah,
underrated and one of the strongest Avengers, hands down, or strongest people in the Marvel
yeah.
universe. Like, she really is. She's the Madonna of the Marvel universe. So I wish they would actually have introduced that. They were kind of dropping little subtle hints, but they never really went.
Well,
with it.
they had a bigger thing to get
Yeah,
to. and
yeah,
Some
but, I
things
mean,
get lost.
Yeah.
But the point is,
She don't
that
sell plushes.
Yeah, I know. I know.
they were able to work such magic in some circumstances with like IP that barely anybody knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like truly worked some fucking magic. And then like
And
I mean,
Stallone is in that.
He
I
is.
know.
He is. Yeah. But like, we had
understand a
so
word he
much
says.
good stuff, and we were so hungry because everything was at least like a contiguous story. I mean, like shows aside and stuff like that,
Yeah.
street level stuff. And then it's just, that's what it is. It's for me, it's just like such highs.
Yeah.
And then just, you have all these, you have things. There's content.
Now
there.
you have an
But it's very
expectation.
difficult.
And some of the shows have been great.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually
Dude,
a
Agents
fair
of
point
Shield
too.
is really fun.
It is a good. That was a good show
Yeah.
for a bit.
And it really had nothing to do with anything.
It was supposed to, but then it didn't.
Yeah.
It's a fair point too, because you have that expectation. Back when we were younger, when you had like the first X-Men movie, there was no expectation because
Yeah.
comic movies,
Yeah, you have
comic
no
book.
clue.
Yeah, I mean, like you had the Punisher, you had like the
With
Superman and
Howard-
Batman.
You had
movies.
Howard the Duck.
You had Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
You
How
had,
does he get a movie before fucking
The
Spider-Man?
first Marvel movie was Howard the fucking
How does
Duck.
that happen?
you had a number of these movies, and there wasn't really anything to go off of. And now the Marvel movies, the MCU, kind of raised the echelon because you did have like the 1989 Batman and
Sure.
Batman
Which is
Returns,
great
series,
which
great
were
series.
really
Which
good
is great, but
movies.
you killed the Joker.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
stand by the 1970s Captain America.
I know you always will, and I
I know
appreciate
that
about
no one
about
agrees
you.
with me, but
Yo, the 70s Hulk is awesome.
Yes,
agree with that
exactly.
as
The one
well.
with Bill
Yeah.
Bixby.
The 70s Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Fucking
they're all
great.
terrible things.
They are.
They're enjoyable.
Invisible Woman was just not on set that day.
Yeah.
The overall point that I'm making, though, is quality was really hard to come by in the comic book medium until the MCU kind of like started doing this. And then they started believing their own hype, I guess, to some degree, and then kept just shoveling shit
Well,
out.
Kevin Feige also was a part of that X-Men movie.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
did a
yeah.
lot
Yes.
of those movies. Like he was a executive producer.
Yeah,
on a lot
yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah, EP.
So that's why he was perfect to,
to be
take
the
helm.
overall head of
Yeah.
design of how
Yeah,
this
and
works.
Jon Favreau
Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
is a genius. Everything he touches is gold. I'm sorry. Everything he does is great.
that is true.
Yeah,
if
Jon
I-
Favreau is phenomenal.
yeah.
I mean, come on. Couples Retreat.
Another point that happened
did
too
Elf,
is that we had the whole thing that happened with like levels of CGI
Yes.
that you happen, and like so I watch a lot of media for these like these houses, these companies get involved to come in, and at the rate that Marvel was chugging these things out, the reason CGI went down because they were not literally given the time
Yeah.
to do their job.
It's also another fair point too, Justin, because with that CGI still looking crap, the budget for these movies went up higher.
Yeah.
And then that way, like the way you would like kind of measure if it's a flop or not is, did you make enough money? Like obviously there's a projection. Now they all want $1 billion like making these movies. But like did you eat your hat on this fucking movie? And I think that was the wasn't the Eternals, it was the other one you just mentioned. Oh, the Marvels.
Yeah.
They lost money making that movie.
This is one of the.
Did that first one do all that great?
the first one.
It was
The
okay.
first
Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel?
It
It
did
made
well.
like $1 billion.
I
was
said,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
did
s-
well.
I said this to you, Moses, when basically when the Renaissance was happening,
Yeah.
with comic book movies. You and I, Moses, had a debate about this, and you were talking about how great these new films are at the time.
Well, I
Going
was.
back,
I
obviously,
also
quite a ways.
said one like because Marvel was getting some properties back, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, once Marvel has it, these will be they'll be better movies.
You
as
said,
far as-
I remember the argument because I was quite adamant and I did not have enough legs to stand on. So I had to like acquiesce it to you and offer that argument up to time. And your argument at that time was that because they've now figured it out, which is your words, they figured it out.
They did.
Now they'll always be great going forward and they'll never be bad again. And I said more or less something along the lines of that these movies will be shit again because they're so easy to make into shit. And I feel like that's exactly what's happened. It's come full circle because you're not talking about fans that are making the films. You're talking about people who want to make money. And
the machine
But-
takes
Yeah,
over.
the
at
machine
some
takes
point.
over.
like,
That
because some
greed
of
is
these
there.
movies being made are made by fans.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
granted, they have the
certainly I would
capabilities
not
and
argue
shit, but,
that there's not going to be good
like
movies in there.
Deadpool in
but that
itself.
they
Like the
will-
only reason that was made was because he became a fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fair. But that they will revert back to the mean and that you will have films that are garbage because it's all about making money.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
There-
Every
what you mean.
fan wants to believe that we've hit that precipice and it's going to be great now because you finally understand what the fuck I wanted.
I'm not
But
gonna
no
s-
one understands
I'm
that
not
because they don't
going to
give a
say
shit.
any of them are garbage, though.
Yeah, because they're all
Fantastic Four
successes.
2
They all
was
make a
Can I
profit.
talk to you?
Garbage,
Can I talk
but-
to you again about that dance scene and how much I love it? I would love to just dive into just that one scene,
That's
if we
it.
can, just for a moment, and I will cuddle you while we do it. But
Don't threaten me
Every
with
time
it.
you say dancing,
Oh,
by the
it's
way,
like Mr. Fantastic and the Thing dancing. All right.
yeah,
every time you say dance scene, I think of the dance scene from Spider-Man 3, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just,
Oh,
oh, that's great too. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, Dan, these are all great things
Although
because
I did
we've
come
finally
out
done
at
it.
a wedding. I was introduced at a wedding, and that's how I came out as doing the Spider-Man 3
that.
dance.
So I watched literally, I think it was earlier yesterday. I caught a clip of the original with the Chickless.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
And so when that movie came out, and I can't remember when it was, there was still aspects. So everything is more or less CGI now.
Yes.
That's the pipeline that it goes down.
Everything Reed was CGI in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like
And Torch and Sue, but Chickless
not the
was
same.
in a
Chickless, no,
suit.
they still
I
did.
think they just ribbed him.
Yeah.
8 hours getting to wear that fucking
Yeah.
suit.
But like seeing clips of him in that, and I'm like, because there's still a part of me that misses like the practical
Yeah.
effects type
Yeah.
stuff, and it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Like the scene where he's he's in the
trench
the
coat.
trench
Yeah,
coat. He's
yeah.
at the bar and like,
It
what's
feels
her name?
more real.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, and
it
he like he
does.
shatters the glass in
Yeah.
his hand, and
Like the
shit
Ninja
that.
Turtles.
But that's straight out of the comic book.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
And that's what I really like. But the other thing too is like these movies that have come out recently, you can't say they're like dog shit.
No, I would not say they're dribble
They're
or dog
not
shit or
the
whatever.
drizzling shits, but they're also not on par. They've really put everything on a fucking gigantic pedestal.
Yeah,
So
you-
that's the really difficult thing is we're comparing the Marvels to Endgame because that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
most recent thing. So it's not really a fair comparison.
Oh no. And
Because
you're
the Marvels
you're
actually
absolutely
does
right.
have a lot of really fun stuff, except for the scene where they're on the singing planet, which Logan
No.
over here would absolutely
was
adore.
ridiculous.
Right.
He would love that.
See, and that's where I want to draw that out because I feel like that's exactly it. That you being a fan of the general genre, that you're saying that it's being compared to the precipice
Yeah.
of this pedestal. And
Yeah.
if you apply that to anything, then that would be true. But it also means that we can't criticize anything in a meaningful
I
way
know.
and call anything dog shit.
I think-
but there is dog shit in this
But,
world.
well-
In everything that I love horror movies, right? So, like, by this reasoning, I'm comparing everything to the best movie that I've ever seen. And so, therefore, the movie that's underneath that, the worst version of it, it's like, yeah, it's not as good as that, but it's still good in these ways because this is what it did right. Well, you know what? It's still a fucking dog shit movie. And so are some of these films that we're talking about.
Okay.
They don't meet your expectation.
Thor 4 is really bad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying to you. And I just want you to
Gorms
say
was
it. I want to hear you say it.
Thor 2 wasn't a fucking Cracker
Thor
Jack
2
either.
sucked too.
Thor
Yeah.
2 was
That was
boring.
horrible.
It was pretty boring.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's also plenty of comic book movies before this, during phase 1, 2, and
Yeah.
3, that were
I'm hard
We're not
pressed to
gonna-
think of
People
one.
said Incredible Hulk. They all hated that movie.
That was pretty good. I loved.
I didn't dislike
Edward
that
Norton?
movie. Yeah.
I actually kind
Yeah.
of like that. I like that movie a little bit more than some of the other
that
things.
Hulk
that
has
followed
been
it,
the
yeah.
best version of Hulk to come out
Yeah.
since Lou Ferrigno.
I
Oh, yeah.
agree with you.
yeah.
But also, Ed Norton was as close to Bill Bixby as we've ever gotten to a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So actually, Hulk and Avengers 1 was really good.
Oh no, you know
Yeah,
what?
Hulk and Avengers
You know
1 was
what?
really good, and then it just adjusted.
It
Once he started getting a hey big guy, sun's getting real low.
Yeah.
That weird whatever.
Yeah, why were they
know,
a couple? Him and
mean,
Romanoff,
I mean,
and
why
then they
it's
weren't.
literally a why not?
I mean,
It was
come on.
just like it was just so fucking
Yeah, it
bizarre
was-
that
it
all
was
of a
very
sudden they're
random.
together.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we are just
there
to
was no
assume-
lead up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just
Well,
to assume that
Avengers
they've been
2
banging.
is not great.
No.
But there was also like a lead up with Captain America and what the hell is her? Scarlett Johansson played her. What the hell?
yeah, there was
Black
a
Widow.
thing.
They were
in,
trying to lead
Black
into
Widow.
that. Black Widow.
They were
thank you.
making a scene when she was getting around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
because
Because
that's
you
part of her
always thought
job.
that she was fucking
Also, like they did the
Hawkeye,
whole
like,
thing.
you know.
So, what was it? Civil War, where he's like making out with what's her name's daughter or whatever,
Yeah, Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. His step. Like, well, I guess they didn't marry. So,
They didn't marry in that universe.
Yeah.
but
no.
yeah, I don't know, whatever.
So you mentioned the universe thing, and I actually wanted to ask you this question, Jeff. The multiverse thing has been the thing that they've Marvel's really been leaning into. Do you think in any shape, way, or form this kind of eliminates stakes? You kill off this character in one movie, and he's back the next character or movie, movie after that or something like that. Do you think that it does that type of thing? There's a lot of potential to bring characters back. Like, oh, we didn't mean to kill them off.
And it's also comic books where nobody dies.
But if I'm a casual viewer, and I'm like, oh, you just killed this guy off in the last movie. Like now he's back in the sequel. What the hell is that?
Well, if they are going to go that approach, they're not going to bring the same actor back. That's what I believe. I think they're doing this also, and they're going to bring back a version of Black Panther. They'll bring in some sort of T'Challa.
Oh, isn't that what
which that
doing,
really
like Shuri?
is horrible.
Yeah, that did not.
That sucked.
Wait,
like,
what was that?
Like, isn't that what they did with Shuri? Like, I know she does become Black Panther in the comics,
but also they introduced the son that T'Challa had. So I think there's going to be a
the Young Avengers.
They're going to do Young Avengers, but I think there's going to be a time jump after Secret Wars. There's going to be a little bit of time jump to either age him up, or they're just going to get a T'Challa from the other universe
just to come to this universe.
You can't get rid of Black Panther.
I could not agree more with you. I think this is fully what they're going to do.
Yeah. You can't get rid of Black Panther. It's such an important character. Wakanda is so important to the 616 universe.
Yeah.
But then again, they are moving more towards mutants. Because after the whole time thing and multiverse ends, which is going to be at the end of Secret Wars, they're going to get heavy into the mutants.
Yeah, they already introduced Beast in...
so that's going to be Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah.
That's going to be the next 5-year plan. So you had COVID fucked everything up.
I just want to say that I love that you said 5-year plan. Yeah. A Stalinist euphemism. That's totally what that's associated with.
It's still a business.
It is a business. It's a business. It ain't UNICEF. But like, dude, like COVID really fucked a lot of that quality control up too. And the writer's strike that happened. Because so many things got delayed. Secret Wars was supposed to happen next year.
Well,
Fantastic Four was supposed to happen this year.
This is a big point to always, movies take years to make. We're talking like 3 to 4.
They're supposed to, but Marvel hasn't been doing that.
Right.
And that's where we're getting some of these things.
Generally take, in the way it used to work, 2 to 3 solid years of work and stuff like that. And then, but if you got some people pushing their foot down on the gas pedal and then things start getting cut.
Yeah. Well, also, dude, you got to think Pedro Pascal is going to be in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Mandalorian movie.
Yep.
Right.
And all the other roles that he's in. But like those 2 are supposed to come out very, very soon.
Yeah.
So that concerns me a little bit.
It
that
does.
The shit is going to be a little rushed.
Yeah.
But it's also an origin story. Well, they're saying it's not an origin story.
I know.
But it kind of has to be a little bit of an origin.
I don't know. At this point, because we don't need an origin story for fucking Batman. Like, we know what Batman is.
Dude,
we know
you
who
need
the
an
Fantastic
origin story
Four
for
now.
Ironheart. No one knows who the fuck
Well,
Ironheart
that's fair.
is.
Yeah,
Batman
but you
was like
don't
born
need it
from
for
a bat
Fantastic
and-
Four.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like
yeah,
that.
on
I
the
don't
planet
know what it is.
Krypton, and he flew here. It was a
rich
bat
bat?
wings, and the atmosphere.
His
burnt
mother
up.
was a wealthy bat.
Her name is Martha.
Oh.
Martha.
Yeah, we've been
Martha.
shitting on Marvel movies this entire time. What the fuck?
Should we dip our nuts into DC for a second?
Because there's a bit of fucking nonsense there.
All right, so as we hit last call, we are going to start now making fun of DC movies.
All right. Can I just say? So, like, I think we're generally, like, DC's kind of been, like, lost without their compass a little bit.
Ever since Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Even Dark Knight Rises was not that good.
Oh, no, I agree.
But ever since Dark Knight, I mean, what have they done? That was tremendous.
That's sort of what we've been talking about with the Marvel movies too. Like now there's the
But you're talking like 15
Yeah,
that was a long time.
And we're talking about
two.
one character, not a multiverse.
Yeah, because
characters.
they immediately jumped into the Justice League thing. No build up. Like, all right, here's like
that's
2
because
movies.
they were trying to compete with Infinity.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But that was like the wrong way to do it.
100%.
Give me, first of all, those Superman
You're talking
movies
about
weren't even
smart people as opposed to just people looking to try to make a
Aquaman
couple
was all
bucks.
right.
No, it wasn't.
The Aquaman, I thought that was all right.
It was okay.
For
But
me,
it was
popcorn movie. Didn't really care.
Also, I feel like also smart people. You would assume that, but we can't conflate smart and doing a shit ton of cocaine as a producer in Hollywood. Very different things in that.
They sound the same to me.
All right, so basically of what like DC really tried to rush, I mean, you had your Wonder Woman.
Which was good.
The
Good.
second one was trash.
Second was fucking horrible.
Watched about 30 minutes of it and could not
The
continue.
CGI in that was
Bad.
Oh my god!
It was.
What
I
the
think
hell
Marvel was
that?
doing that too.
You had
Yeah, they were, but that was the COVID and the writer's
Yeah,
strike.
yeah.
The Wonder Woman had no excuse.
Yeah. You had your Henry Cavill Superman.
Yeah.
Tolerable. He was
tolerable.
amazing.
I think
he was
he's a fine
absolutely
Superman.
amazing.
I think he was a good pick.
Superman's boring.
He is.
Agreed.
Superman is boring.
Superman
Yeah,
is-
I
He's
agree
too
with that.
overpowered.
Yes,
There's no like. But that's what Marvel's doing now is they're underpowered,
Yeah.
super powered
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, like, in the same vein that you root for Doctor Doom, I always root for Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He's just a businessman. He just wants to do the right
Just a
thing.
dude.
Just a dude running for president.
And here we
no
are, Dan,
ulterior motives.
2 Republicans in a Marvel universe. Just a regular, everyday businessman trying to make his way, and these super-powered, ultra-wealthy people just ruining it.
And this illegal immigrant just
fired.
wants to stop him. And
He's
he's
also a
really
far-left
ridiculous, I'll
reporter.
tell you.
And then like, well, I'm gonna keep continuing, but like,
Please.
the whole drama over the Snyder issue
Sucked.
Yeah.
My God, the
Yeah.
Snyder cut was worse than the original.
It
cut.
was
Yeah, it's like
so long.
Dude, I
Chapter-
watched it
chapter
in
plates?
6 parts. 'cause I
Chapter
just-
plates.
Yeah. It was so bad. The
If this
only
was a
good thing
VHS
was Cyborg.
Yeah.
He was the only good part of that movie.
I want to throw in there just like, and this is as to how far it ties in, but I'm going to put it out there to you, my friend, that Batman, and I enjoyed some of those songs. It's the first one that you threw out as far as what DC did right.
Yeah.
And then basically how they didn't do that again, what they got wrong. I do understand why that movie is enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I get why it's good. I dislike the general concept of that, and I think that that's why they do it wrong in subsequent
concept
versions.
of what?
Batman.
Of just doing
Just
Batman.
Batman. It's the story of a rich person, and that's it.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
not a good character when
It
you
isn't
really
great.
write it down
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah.
And if you watch it through that lens, as I do, someone who has obviously a lot of
We should
preconceived
fucking
notions.
hate this guy.
Like,
Here is where I'm actually going to disagree with the room.
This is why I'm not a Republican.
Listen, if you just pulled yourself up by your goddamn bootstraps for just 2 seconds.
I know, and just let this rich man save you.
in another universe, you're a Republican.
So I always saw Batman and the Punisher as pretty much the same basic entity. They do the same thing, but in different avenues. The Punisher
Punisher's
kills the criminals.
poor, and Batman's rich.
Batman doesn't kill them, but at the same in the same vein, they are just 2 regular dudes. They're 2 regular human beings that have just worked themselves out to the point where
It's
they're
also
like
like-
peak human condition,
I got
and
it.
they know what they're fucking doing.
I have to disagree with that. Although the essence of what you're saying, that might bear validity, but they're not both 2 regular dudes.
I'm
No.
No.
But theoretically,
no,
any of us can
He's
do
saying
that.
like unpowered.
I'm
It's
not.
like-
They're
yeah.
not.
If you
that's
were-
power.
If you were to give me a small loan of $90 billion, I could be
Yeah,
Batman.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we were all just Donald Trump and got
Like-
gifted a small loan of $90 billion.
How many Punisher skull stickers do you have? That's my.
With or without the blue
All
line.
I have Punisher tattooed on my arm. By the
I
way.
have exactly 1 T-shirt.
Is it with or without the blue line?
It is. It was from the movie back in the day. The one where it's all like dirty and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Tommy-
The
the
Tommy
Thomas
Jane
Jane
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
bro.
Tom
Oh,
Jane
the-
movie.
oh,
I
that
was
was
talking
good.
about those too.
I thought those were
Castle is a regular guy, but when you're talking about Bruce Wayne, that's Elon Musk just deciding on a given day that
yeah.
he's going
Yeah.
to go and murder people
Yep.
that he thinks have
Hold on,
committed
that is
crimes.
If you want a
exact-
comparison, though,
Not
Tony
murder,
Stark is
brutalize
close.
people.
Tony Stark is closer to Batman.
That's fair enough. That might
than
be
Punisher,
closer.
but I know what you mean with the Punisher
Yeah.
to Batman.
It is what it
comparison.
is. It's rich people just deciding who's a criminal and who isn't.
But the difference with that Elon Musk comparison is Elon Musk is not going to work himself out to the point where he is peak human condition and can fight fucking doomsday.
No,
How many-
just Mark Zuckerberg.
Dark side.
He could have Batman could easily have an exoskeleton sort of suit that enhances.
does
his
that
own
every once in a
capacities.
while.
He
Exactly,
does.
and it's come
Yeah.
up in comics. I didn't want to say it definitively because I thought if I was wrong, I'd be corrected, and it would invalidate
And he's got
my
Iron Man
argument.
suits too.
He
Yeah.
does.
Like,
He has
he's-
Superman.
so then there you
fighting
go.
Yeah, there's the more,
suits.
That's exactly it.
My point was that he you know, if you took the money away and he still did the same, he could still basically do the same basic principle of working himself out to that. He just doesn't have the gadgets anymore.
Yeah. You need the gadgets.
Batman without the gadgets
The ladies
is a man
always
who
need the
gets
gadgets.
He's
shot.
Daredevil.
He's just
with
a
sight.
Yeah.
But that's a man who gets shot.
All right, so
And
like,
he's dead.
Batman
That's the end of the series.
Batman starts with the impetus of like he is so incredibly, he is the world's greatest detective.
Yes. Which that is what, all right. I'm not a big fan of the Robert Pattinson movies just because I think they're too fucking long.
Well,
But-
yeah.
But I really do enjoy the detective aspect
Yes.
of that.
Yeah.
You know, they really
I
did
have
a
very
good
mixed
job
feelings about
on
that movie.
If they cut like a half an hour out of that
Yeah.
movie, I think it would have been a lot better.
I'd say probably 50 minutes, but yes.
I still want to disagree with that, though. I don't think that his power is not this detective quality, which I think is what is.
But that's what
That
he is in
is,
the comics.
yeah,
though.
the world's
I mean,
greatest
that's fair
detective.
enough, but
It started off as detective comics. and
You
then
you
got to
enjoy the
Batman.
1966 movie and series. That's half of what he did was
Yeah.
just being a detective. Was
Yeah.
going out. He was just a detective wearing a stupid costume.
And
With
it
some,
hasn't been
shark
depicted as
repellent.
well
his,
since.
yes,
his
yeah.
and you're right, and I do enjoy those things. In fairness, they were highly comedic.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but the power that he had in that, it wasn't even the enormous wealth aspect. It's the power of luck. He had the power
So
of
he's
luck.
I mean-
basically
and also
Domino.
shark
Yeah.
repellent.
I mean, honestly,
Essentially, yes,
isn't
actually,
that
I
a
would agree
power
with
that
that.
all superheroes have? Is luck? Like, because
Well,
most of them can die.
Yeah.
If
The-
Thor
and
went
that
for the
they don't.
fucking head,
Some people
that's
are
being unlucky.
Some people are Batman and RoboCop, and the bullets always hit them in the right spot.
yeah.
I mean, if you
That's
think
what
about
it
it,
is.
like Iron
In
Man
real life, that's not what happens.
Iron Man tested out a suit and not getting a pulmonary embolism. It's like, it's like
He didn't immediately die from the shrapnel.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about Batman, what's more exciting, Batman or the villains?
The
but
villains.
the villain.
Realistically,
Yeah,
it's
the
the
villain.
villains.
Gotham.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
show
well, that's
Gotham
why-
proved
Yeah.
that.
I'll
That's-
tie,
Oh yeah.
I was going to say Joker, actually, but
I'll tie
Well,
this into your line of
yeah.
work. Baby faces are great, but they're
Yeah.
only as good as the heels that they have
Exactly.
to fight.
100%.
That's fair.
Without the heel, it's fucking boring.
Honestly, I don't even think, because Gotham proved that we don't really need the hero.
Yeah.
Can
it's the rogues
just
gallery.
his rogues
It's-
gallery,
yeah.
like living in Gotham amongst each other,
Totally.
and they're just cutthroat because they're goddamn villains.
Yeah.
But
But this
with
is
each
also
other,
what Marvel had a problem with because the first couple waves, they had, except for Loki, no
Yeah.
key
Nothing. Yeah,
villains.
nothing. Yeah.
There were none, but they made the heroes look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the good thing. With DC, it's like, we got to really hype these heroes up, but it's
They
the drizzling shit.
They don't do
very
either.
little.
And then like the bad guys are so much more memorable in those movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg killed it as Lex Luthor.
We don't speak of that. We do not speak of that.
That movie is so bad.
It's just I always equate him too with that Facebook movie. So I'm
Yeah.
like Mark Zuckerberg is just
Oh,
like
yeah.
Luthor. It's just
I think it's Zombieland.
He was probably on set for all three of those at the same time.
more than likely.
Yeah.
But
Oh, who's the other one? The new one.
Peacemaker was fantastic. Though.
Peacemaker was
Yes.
good.
Peacemaker was fun,
Yeah.
but also these are all the villains.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Peacemaker's technically a villain. It's just he started turning,
Yeah.
doing the face turn. You know,
A real person.
John Cena's always going to be face.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
No,
But-
he's chaotic good at bat.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. Take it home, brother.
So
But no,
if I
it's
could ask a question,
9 inches.
I was going to
heard
ask
it
that
here.
off mic, but okay.
Wow.
Thank you.
That is a long cheesesteak.
Shut the fuck up. So obviously, a lot of people know. I mean, I remember James Gunn from Troma days, but like James
yeah.
Gunn did Guardians.
Guardians.
What do you think? If we're going to be still like dipping our nuts in DC a little
yeah.
bit, how
Which
do you
we
think
should.
that's going to go?
It's going to help a lot, but you're also going to get the same sort of recipe
Yeah.
that you're getting with Peacemaker and you're getting with the Guardians. So you're going to get,
That Guardians of the Galaxy kind of
yeah, you're going to get
quirkiness,
a
but
lot of quirkiness. You're going to get a great soundtrack,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is dope.
That
Yeah.
is.
You're going
Gonna
to
see a lot of familiar faces.
You're going to see the same faces.
Nathan Fillion will be in that
That's it.
somewhere.
His wife is going to be
Yep.
in it too.
Yep. His
Also,
brother.
Mantis will be
Yep.
in there.
Yep.
All of them will be there, which is good because they're all great actors and
Yeah.
actresses.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to get stale after a while. And I don't think James Gunn is ever going to be able to accomplish a successful Batman, Superman, any of those kind of things.
I think he could do Superman. I don't know
think
about
he
Batman.
could do Superman. I just don't again, I just don't give a flying fuck about Superman.
Well, that's fair too.
You know, but it's just
I think we're gonna get the Marvel universe just on a DC skin. You know, like
edgier, rated R.
Yeah, well, also,
but not in a
weren't
fun
all
way.
of those DC ones rated R.
I mean, I think they were trying to be.
All right, so
but-
there used to be the trope, and it still exists to this day to a degree, where it's like DC is where you kind of went for darker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like
I shouldn't say
life.
rated R. I should say dark.
Dark.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that correlates with James Gunn's direction.
Yeah, because he's not like he's
fucking
not
wild.
He
known
throws a
for
lot
the
of
dark.
levity into everything.
And also at the same
But
time,
he puts a lot of emotion
He does,
and feeling
he does.
into it, which is what you don't get with the dark.
Right.
Yeah, he's
Like
read
movies.
these comics, and he knows.
He
like,
educates himself and he's smart. He's great. I love James.
He immerses himself in whatever the genre is and goes whole hard at it.
Yeah.
And so you're getting the most genuine thing you're gonna get.
Yes.
Whether it's good or not, remains to be seen.
You're still going to get the best.
also
But you're going to
likes
get the
best
best
option.
you can.
He also likes niche too. So
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
But
Yeah.
that could be helpful. Like he did that with
It could
Guardians of
be.
the Galaxy, and like look
Yeah.
at them now.
Yeah, but I mean, Suicide Squad. Look at Suicide
Yeah.
Squad
Yeah.
1
Yeah.
compared to compared
yeah.
to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Which the Suicide Squad was great.
fucking
It was great.
Starro. I was like,
I was so
you're
stoked,
gonna do
bro.
that. When I was
Yeah.
like, no, you're not doing that. Oh, you are doing
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, go for it.
Because you know what?
cook.
That's the
You just
cover
cook.
of the first Justice
Yes.
League. You know, they fight Starro.
Yeah, there's a
So thinking about the Suicide Squad fighting Starro instead, it's a pretty dope concept, and that's funny and smart. That he
but
did
that's
that.
the other thing about the Suicide Squad. It's like, oh, we want to be able to take down Superman. So here's 4 people that can like hit a target.
Yeah.
One guy's strong and the other's got actual power.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's also why the second one was a lot better, because the first one they really tried with like Enchantress and everything like that. And that was just bad.
Yeah.
And Rick Flag, I mean, let's be honest, he's fucking useless.
No,
So
always.
the way that they killed him off, I'm like, you could kill him off. Like, you probably should have done it.
That
like, last
opening
movie,
scene
just to get it out of there.
was like an Easter egg, just like
Oh, yeah.
it was fucking Sunday Easter.
Yeah.
They're like, here's
What's his
Easter
name from
eggs.
Saturday Night Live? He was there. Freaking
Yeah, I can't think of his
Yeah.
name. Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Da-
yeah.
yes.
Oh, he's
But I
hilarious.
actually think he's kind of funny.
He is.
I think he's very
kinda
funny.
Yeah. Like he was in it and they killed him off. I'm
But
like,
they had a fair play where they did this whole thing. They got a bunch of characters and they just killed them off immediately.
Yeah.
But like
Arms
they were all
fall
like
off,
huge.
man.
Like Michael Rooker was a
Yeah.
part of that.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion.
Who's the weirdest son of a bitch I ever met was Michael Rooker.
Really?
Oh my God, he was so weird.
In what way?
So I just met him at Terrificon. I just did that in August, right? So I had the first appearance of Yondu, and I had to get him to sign that. And I said, could you inscribe on Mary Poppins, y'all?
Oh, yeah, sure.
He goes, yeah, sure, that's fine. He does it. And then I look at the book and he just put, I'm Mary, y'all. And I'm like,
Oh.
the fuck is this? And then I went back and I confronted him about it because I was like, sign my book the way I fucking want it.
Right.
And like, not to be like entitled, but
Right.
what the fuck is this?
Right.
And then he was like, yeah, don't do that anymore because basically everybody knows I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. So just put I'm Mary. And I'm like, can you put Poppins? And he was like, you really want me to do that? I'm like, yes, I fucking want you to do that.
Why
Like,
I asked you.
I had to like
This
it
is
was
a
like
whole
pulling
paid
teeth from this
experience
guy.
and things.
I mean,
that-
I didn't have to pay because I know the right people.
yeah, shut the fuck up. That's
Yeah,
fine.
but it would be a
like,
paid experience.
but like, this is there's a whole bunch of things.
Still a heel
At least
with
for like a normal person has to get through to get to this point.
No, exactly, dude. Like, I would have been pissed if I fucking had to pay for that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been so pissed. But, you know, he did fix my book, but it still looks like shit. You can tell it's 2 different pens. You know? But it was just like so awkward. Like the way that he was talking.
Yeah.
2 different
To
Michael
have to
Everything,
go back
he
and
was
ask
so
someone to correct
weird.
their signature is a weird thing.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
No, I know that you were right to do it,
Yeah.
but it's still awkward.
No, I've had to do that before.
I had
and I don't give a
something.
fuck.
I had something like that happen at Monster Mania.
I know.
Robert,
Which I will
Englund-
be there in November, Oaks, Pennsylvania. No
There you
source.
go. Robert Englund and there was Freddy vs. Jason. Whoever played Jason in that one, he was signing autographs. I got Jason, or no, I got Robert No, I did get Jason's first.
Which one was it?
Okay.
I got Jason's first. He drew
Robert Englund is
Robert
kind of a
Jason.
dick. I'm not gonna lie.
No, he was fucking great with it.
He was nice. He was mean to me. Maybe it's me.
I've heard mixed reviews, but continue.
So Jason, like whoever, I can't remember which one it was, Kane Hodder or if somebody else, signs it and draws a
That's
little
gotta be Kane.
I would have to.
a little hockey mask with a machete under it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
then I bring the same poster over to Robert Englund,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, he's drawing pictures over there, is he?" So he draws a caricature
gotta
of
feed that
Freddy,
ego.
and it was quite good. Like
Yeah.
if he was like on a fucking boardwalk just doing characters for like $5 to fuck with you, and I think he had the little glove and shit, and just was like, "Oh, that's pretty neat."
Well, I mean, Robert Englund's been on the circuit for a fucking
Yeah.
minute.
He's been doing
Yeah,
this a
but
long time.
but
That's
just
why I feel like
Well,
he's a
you
little
have Kane
bit.
Hodder. I don't
Ari
know. I can't
Lehman
remember
does
the
that
newest
all
guy.
the time too. Like Ari Lehman.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even really. I mean, he was kind of Jason.
Sort of.
He was
Sort
the
of.
kid in the lake.
Yes.
That's what it is. Where it's like I do stand by what I said of England, but at the same time, like this is a thing that he fucking does all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And people put you up on the you get an attitude about
It's
it.
very difficult.
Yeah.
Like it's
whereas like a
very
no-name
difficult.
person is just happy that you're talking to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, dude, when I do my fucking indie show, someone comes up for an autograph, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, I see these other guys that are just fucking miserable to be
Yeah.
there.
it's got to be exhausting.
It's got to be exhausting, but at the same point, you could.
The-
It's
And you're
still
talking
your
about-
I know,
job.
I-
You could be
well,
a
and
little
that's-
bit
yeah.
better.
That's how I feel about it. Like this is your job, and like not everybody. You don't
have
you're
a
not-
little bit of grace.
Yeah, you're
Pete
not gonna,
Rose was a dick.
You're
like,
not going to love every single part
which obviously
of your
Pete
job.
Rose just is.
Yeah.
But like, it was GalaxyCon again in December. So I went and met him, and he knew my uncle. Like, they used to work the Bucky Dam Baseball Academy
Oh,
in
okay.
Florida.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know, so like my great uncle knew Pete.
Yeah.
Like they were close friends. I met them all together.
Yeah.
Like when I was super young.
Right.
I got pictures of me, Pete, like all that
Yeah.
kind of shit. And I was like, oh yeah, I was this big when the last time I saw you, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And he just completely was like,
Yeah, fuck off.
yeah,
Whatever.
I know a lot of people.
Yeah,
They
it's like
fucking kidding me,
condescending.
bro.
I hate
like I
that.
showed him a picture of like, that and everything. And he was like,
He's just totally shut off.
yeah, he doesn't give
Yeah.
a fuck.
Speaking
It's
of
literally
Bucky
throw
Dent.
the money, sign, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Well, that's what
just
Pete
like
Rose
that.
is as a
Yeah.
dude.
Speaking of Bucky Dent, he must be related to Harvey Dent, which gets us back to
Yes.
the comic book talk we were originally
we
starting
go.
with. Segues.
I believe in Harvey Dent. Though.
I
Do
too
you
believe in him.
Harvey Dent?
Well, if you're
I
talking
believe
about a
in
segue, Moses, I'm going to segue into closing time because you don't have to stop listening to podcasts, but this one's about to end.
Yeah.
But
You got to stop recording.
But with the ending, you do have to bring up the massive success of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get to talk about
We did
that.
not.
We
We
did
went
not.
on a lot of detours.
Okay. We went
So,
a lot of detours.
you know,
but we do
we're-
have to at least talk about this for a couple.
We're going to have to do one last shot then
That's
because
it.
it is closing time.
There we go. I mean, that
I haven't
movie
watched
made
it.
over $1 billion.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched it.
Oh, it was. It,
You
wa- it
really
was,
have to.
It was the greatest fucking superhero film that doesn't really have a plot.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah.
But it's so much fucking fun.
Yeah. And
It's a
Cassandra Nova
popcorn
was
movie.
a great
Am I
young-
correct?
It's, yeah.
All right, that's what they should.
You're
do.
not like, it is at its purest form, and it's like, here fans, like true fans.
It's-
oh,
it's-
here's true fans. Oh, here's
All the fans
Grandma.
on a platter
yeah.
here for you.
It was a love letter to the Fox and Sony, like,
Yeah.
universe,
It was yeah.
Yeah.
which is nice because they really did deserve a good send off.
Yeah.
Because we're all here because of those movies, as
True.
shitty or not as they were.
I hold Howard the Duck for all of it.
You would.
There should have been a reference to Howard the Duck. I completely agree that should have
Can
been.
I
Yeah,
go
get
right
Seth Green out of him playing.
No, not
Chris.
even Seth Green. I want
the
the puppet.
Yeah.
I want,
You want
freaking-
like Dionne Warwick to come out.
yeah,
Holy shit.
That's what I want. Or Leah Thompson, and or
Oh,
like
well, we can't get
topless
what's his
duck,
name?
The
the bad guy in it.
No,
yeah, no, you can't get
he,
him.
he
Oh,
don't
God.
film no more.
diddling.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the Deadpool and Wolverine movie was phenomenal. Ryan Reynolds being a dude who's just a gigantic fan of the Deadpool character.
And I
Comic
love
books.
how
He's
he
one of those
became a
people.
fan of it because in the Deadpool comic, they're like
They made a reference.
they made a reference to him. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you look like Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
on the ass of a Shar Pei or something
Yeah.
like that.
Ryan Reynolds is like one of these cases, and honestly, I wish that I could disagree with that because there's something in me where it's like when everything just lines up so perfectly,
Yeah.
there's like this contrarian part of my personality that wants to hate it.
Yeah.
But he actually plays that role so well.
But that's the only role he played. Like as an actor,
Oh, I
that's
agree.
all he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, that's
he
the
is
only thing
one
he can
note
do.
as well.
Yeah.
He's very one note, but in a great way.
Well, in
Yeah,
a
oh
great
no,
way.
he found
I
his
love his
fucking
one
niche.
note.
Whereas you've got people like fucking oh god damn it, you've got people who like show up for various different roles. I'm thinking of what's his name who tried to play Ghost Rider.
Nick
Cage.
Cage.
Nick Cage?
Nick Cage. You've got people who have passion for a role. And they want to do everything right, but that's not who they are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then you've got a Ryan Reynolds, and he's got the passion, but he's also perfect.
Yeah.
And it just works.
So for Deadpool, for Ryan, it's just Ryan Reynolds going to be pure id.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
truest, like his true, just put it out there,
Yeah.
just pure id. That's it.
I think
That's
part of
why
what I
love
don't
it.
like is that I do have Mint Mobile. I don't love it, and I get his picture in my mail a lot, and it kind of like it brings out a little hate in me. So that maybe is where I'm coming
Just
from.
have
To
to send
defend-
you one autograph.
To defend Nick Cage's Ghost Rider, it was better him do that than him be Luke Cage, who he loves.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well,
Yeah.
he wasn't a horrible Ghost Rider.
No,
it was
he
just
wasn't
not a
terrible.
very bad written movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude that plays Blackheart is the worst fucking actor I've ever seen.
Isn't that what's his name from My Chemical Romance?
No, it's not.
No.
All right. Oh,
No, that was
Pete
the
Wentz.
dude. That was a dude. He was in like a couple seasons of American Horror
Yeah,
Story,
yeah, yeah.
and he's
Oh,
the worst
okay.
fucking
He's just not
part
good, not
of
good.
He's not
every one of
Quicksilver.
those
Also,
seasons.
also, once again, I just want to kind of reiterate that point that I made before, that when one is a fan, we're able to look at a film like that one and say, this would have been great, and it was great, if you could just ignore
Yeah.
these very fundamental
You know
facts.
the
about-
really important character.
Yeah. You know the main
the
characters and also
antagonist?
most of the storyline?
Just ignore him. and you're
Ignore
good.
that, and you've got a great film here.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to talk about very quickly how good the Disney Plus series has been with like a couple of them. Like Loki was tremendous.
Yes.
Loki season 2 was
Yeah,
tremendous.
Secret
I
Invasion.
I was gonna get to that. You know, the WandaVision was good.
Yeah.
I am actually really enjoying
Agatha all along.
I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. It's what you expect from
She's
Yes.
fucking great. And Aubrey
It's
Plaza,
literally-
anytime. I
Oh,
don't care what the
anytime.
fuck she's in.
Yeah. Totally agreed.
That's my one pass that my wife has given me.
Oh, that's a good pass.
It's not bad.
Elizabeth Olsen or
I was going Natalie
Yeah,
Portman.
So there you go. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely just Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Like it's Hocus
Yeah.
Pocus 3.
Yeah.
But
But I'm
it's
interested.
still very fun and interesting. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do a spoiler. I don't really give a shit.
Catherine
It's
Hahn's
also,
ass?
like
It's fine.
it's whatever. But they mentioned Mephisto
They
finally.
do. They do.
Sacha Baron Cohen is
That's
reported
supposedly
to
gonna be the actor to play it.
We'll see.
Wow.
We'll
Drop
see.
the name
and
Mephisto.
because like he is a
Holy
good
shit.
actor.
Very nice.
He is a very good actor.
So my quick iteration of that is it's been very fun. When Mephisto was dropped, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah, that really caught my
They
got
did
me
that
off
with
my
the
track.
X-Men too, though. And then it's like, oh, Ms. Marvel's a mutant because I guess we're ignoring Inhumans.
They are.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
With
like
pretty good reason.
by literally killing Black Bolt, but
Although, give me more Lockjaw, damn it. Anytime you want to give me a time
That's
traveling
fair.
dog, like I'm pretty stoked.
oh, we need more Moon Girl, I think. Or, is it Moon Girl?
Head him would be good.
Maybe she has Devil Dinosaur. I don't know.
Also, I'll give a shout out for my wife, her favorite TV show, Moon Man, or AKA Moon Knight.
Why don't we have like no?
Which was
I
awesome.
I need
Loved
to
Moon
no.
Knight.
I have to talk now. Why don't we
got
have
the
more
mic.
fucking Moon Knight? Because we need a hell of a lot more of it.
Supposedly, it's happened.
Yeah.
Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
I
wanna
want
do
more.
Midnight-
I just want more Moon
They
Knight.
want to do Midnight Suns. They mentioned Mephisto.
Yeah.
That would be the great way to
That
do
would be
that.
a great way to do that. And
you
we
could
already
put-
have Wesley Snipes still. So
Yeah, you got all those characters.
he's
You got
Blade. Oh, he
Blade.
plays Blade in Wolverine
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Deadpool.
As far as I'm concerned, he is Blade.
Well, yeah, he still is.
There's only one Blade.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. So as we wrap up here, do you have any dates that you would like to share? Your social media?
Yes. Big Jeff Noyze, the American Kaiju. We will be with Titan Championship Wrestling November, the second weekend in November. I believe it's the 9th. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Noise Toys, we're going to be set up in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the Monster Mania convention.
Perfect.
Which is going to be super awesome. Gina Davis is going to be there. So I'm going to make sure to get a baseball signed by her.
Perfect.
I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But we have that lined up, and Titan Championship Wrestling, we have a ton more events, including Mount Olympus in November. And December, we are going to be back in Bayville. So we have a big time. Titan is everywhere. Titan is going to be in even more places very soon. Pay attention. I cannot mention where yet, but big things are happening.
Stay tuned.
Fucking love it, though.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, brother.
Everyone out there, if you enjoyed this podcast, then please subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. You can check us out on YouTube and Rumble as well. I'm trying to add more visual components to it, but I only have so many minutes in the day. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our content. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you enjoyed this podcast, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at patreon.com/loudandrunk. So for Justin, Moses, Logan, and the American Kaiju, Big Jeff Noyze, I'm Dan. And until next time, yeah, it's just, you can't stay here anymore.
No,
get out.
Get up. Fuck off.
Stay loud, stay drunk. I got you, Dan. Don't worry.